Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, Sacred Geography, and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Tuesday, July 11th, around 9 p.m. Mountain Time 2023. The second day of the eruption on the Reykjanes Peninsula in earnest as we are live here at ruv.is. After the show, there will be a live stream of the eruption over at Magnetic Reversal News. Once again, as we had for the last 24 hours, we'll be putting up a new live stream, and I will be there with some updates and some pretty exciting footage. Keep calm. It's boom time. A potentially dangerous situation looms as Vermont grapples with the worst flood in nearly 100 years. A slow-moving storm system inundated multiple towns across Vermont on Monday as dams near their capacity on Tuesday. Several towns, including Vermont's capital, remain in danger. Take a look at downtown Montpelier. It has been closed due to dangerous flooding. Take a look at that. More than 9 inches of rain fell across parts of the region. Catastrophic flooding swamps Vermont's capital as intense storms force evacuations, rescues,
right now,
closures.
more than 25 million people across the Northeast are
in the Northeast.
bracing for more flooding after a powerful storm drenched New York with staggering amounts of rain and deadly flash floods. Just north of New York City, parts of the Hudson Valley saw once-in-a-millennium levels of rainfall. This was the scene in Highland Falls, New York, where a woman was reportedly swept away by raging floodwaters and drowned while trying to evacuate her home with her dog. This powerful storm is now bearing down on New England as it slowly pushes north. Polo Sandoval is live for us on the ground in Rockland County, New York. Polo, you're near one of the hardest hit areas. What have you seen throughout the course of the morning?
Well, finally, a bit of a break in the clouds here, Phil, but overnight, some truly stunning pictures and videos that have emerged from not just here in Rockland County, but neighboring Orange County, which we can't really take you there to because of the roadblock that you'll see here over my shoulder. I'm in touch with Orange County officials who tell me that overnight it really was a just completely chaotic situation with swift water rescues happening, parts of roads being essentially swept away. And so today they are basically reassessing the situation. One of the hardest hit areas that you mentioned there, the town of Highlands, where Orange County officials tell me, unfortunately, one woman, a young woman who was in the process of evacuating her home with her pet, lost her footing in floodwaters, swept away into a ravine, and sadly did not survive yesterday. There is perhaps a glimmer of hope here, as officials saying that all the rest of the residents seem to be accounted for, so Orange County officials do not expect the need for any further rescues, though we will certainly have to see throughout the course of the day. The huge issue right now, though, for a majority of folks here, and all you have to do is look behind me, is going to be travel trouble, I should say.
So clearly a nightmare up in New England. Now severe weather could hit Iowa late Tuesday and into Wednesday in Des Moines. So heads up there. We'll get to the full forecast in just a moment. Also, there's a setup for severe storms targeting parts of British Columbia and Alberta, which is good news because this is where there's over 50 fires right now. So a lot of those fires will be put out. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Look at this, 43 and 35 fires up here in this region. This is going to be the area where most of that rain and thunderstorms is happening. So we could see upwards of 30 or if not 40 fires put out in the course of just the next few days. So that's good news for those living up in that region. Now, as far as the flooding goes, here is the USGS flood current conditions for the upper 48, and you can see black, blue, and purple are rivers in flood stage. So we've got a small cluster down here in Oklahoma, but this is the big news. The ones that are in black, river above flood stage, and that goes from all of eastern New York State, Vermont, western New Hampshire, my goodness, western Rhode Island, and Massachusetts, as well as Vermont, New Hampshire. So there's a lot of flooding going on currently. Now, have you heard about the massive mudslide in California? Yeah, Rolling Hills Estates, California. Days after a major landslide in Rolling Hills Estates neighborhood that destroyed at least 10 homes and forced evacuations, officials say the earth is still moving and increasing concerns for up to 16 more properties in the area.
Insurance will cover this.
Roughly 16 people were evacuated from 12 homes Saturday.
I spoke with one family whose mother was 98 years old. She was somewhere else. They were on the phone to her saying, "Mom, where's your medication?"
The city of Rolling Hills Estates tells Eyewitness News a geologist and geotechnical engineers will first complete a comprehensive review before a cause is determined. Some who live in the area say there were issues over the last few days and weeks.
Gardeners had noticed subterranean, he called it a river, I never witnessed that, but the pipe when it was broken was gushing to the surface. So you had a lot of erosion subgrade for 2 weeks at least.
Residents also say they heard homes cracking.
Of course, of the last 2 or 3 days, it's been what you might call a little dramatic. Buildings changing positions, degrees of angle, popping.
So, very bad situation in Rolling Hills Estates, California, where many people lost their homes and many people may not be insured for the damage. That is crazy. Hurricane forecast model showing up 2 potential tropical storms moving into hurricanes. Invest L, 94L here in the Atlantic. No threat to anyone. And also Invest 94E here in the Pacific. No threat to anyone. But the tropical systems are developing. So we wanted to bring that to your attention. North India deluge 2023. Ladakh, a cold desert, received over 10,000% of its normal rain on July and 8th. Let me repeat that. 10,000% of its normal rain. That's a lot. Heavy rains are now a reality for Latka. Due to global warming, I doubt it. It could be cosmic rays increasing, which causes clouds to nucleate and more rain, but warming certainly doesn't cause that. South Africans struggle to keep their warm with extreme cold weather conditions. Some residents in Kimberley have expressed discomfort about the nationwide cold front. Many express how difficult it is to operate in such conditions. So brutally cold in South Africa. It is winter, though. Seismic update. We did have a major aftershock just moments ago north of Antigua and Barbuda, where that 6.6 magnitude kicked off 24 hours ago. So still rumbling in that area. Overall, no real quakes of note. 2 frat quakes in Oklahoma, and pretty much quiet across the world. Except for in Iceland, volcano erupts after weeks of earthquakes. Over 12,000 earthquakes, and that seismic activity is quieting off as the eruption is concentrated near Little Hütte. On the 11th, 2023, here's your update. The eruption has changed in the last few hours. It seems to be only in one crater that is slowly forming. It is now formed quite spectacularly, and we'll let that run as we update you on Fagradalsfjall. The dike now extends 1 kilometer under Kellier Mountain in the direction of the northeast. The eruption started large fires in the moss and other plants, and this has resulted in massive toxic smoke in the area. There is a high risk of the volcanic gas from eruption along with toxic smoke, so don't take a toke. It might be connected to possible new dike that is formed in Kellier Mountain. Here is the map. We do have that. So there are 2 dikes, they believe, filled with magma that have formed in this region, and just 1 fissure now here, which is erupting the magma. So there could be a second eruption to the north at some point in the future. Yesterday, the longest of the fissure's extent was 1,500 meters or 1.5 kilometers. Since then, it has gone down to 1 erupting crater that seems to be 50 to 100 meters wide. And since, where are we at? Here's the update. Eyesore is reporting that their station at Fagradalsfjall has to be moved because the lava is flowing directly at it. And they're going to find a new location for the station. So those are the updates. It is a toxic eruption. They're telling people not to go near the volcano because of the toxic smoke and the danger. Even though the apparent intensity of the eruption has decreased for now, and only 1 fissure is still active from the original 3 eruptive fissures last night, the apparent slowing of activity could be the calm before the storm. So stay tuned for updates on Fagradalsfjall. As we move on to the worldwide volcano news updates, Popo Reykjanes, LD, and Fagradalsfjall all puffing and passing. We showed you that map. We do have a couple other updates. Sabancaya to 24,000, Sangay to 21, Popo to 22, Fuego to 15. Who knew? Now you do. And Liwotolo to 6,000. So there's a nice aerial photo of day one. Drone live stream 11. And we're going to be doing a live stream at Magnetic Reversal News right after this show ends. Or maybe it will start right around the time it's beginning. But if you want to go chat all night about the fantastic eruption in Iceland, please head over to Magnetic Reversal News for more like-minded conversation. Space weather news update. The sun has become quite active as a new region is emerging around the limb here. And this baby's been pumping out M flares like nobody's business. M 6.8 and M followed by M 5.8. Probably no Earth-directed component. And as Earth facing quiet affects the sun, this sunspot should probably shut down. The 3-day geomagnetic forecast is showing all quiet on the western front with a slight bump in activity in the next 24 hours, may bring us up to KP4. Here is the largest of the two M flares kicking off at 1850 UTC from that new active sunspot region turning around the northeast limb. It produced an M 6.8 solar flare in spectacular fashion. And we did share it over at our Twitter. You can follow us at Oppenheimer Ranch Project on the Twitter box at Diamond the Dave. Oppenheimer Ranch Project at Diamond the Dave, trying to get to 6,000 followers, just 28 away. Goes X-ray flux showing you those two boomers, bang bang. But it seems like that region is quieting down. Sharticle alert. James Webb Space Telescope spots violent collision between two neutron stars. Now, according to these scientists, the James Webb Telescope traced an incredibly bright gamma-ray burst to a kilonova, a dramatic event believed to forge heavy elements like gold. The only problem is, I looked at the paper and wait until you see the data sets. This is pretty amazing. They have this fantastic picture here of what's going on, but when you look at the paper, which titled James Webb Space Telescope Detection of Heavy Neutron Capture Elements in a Compact Object Merger, take a look at how many authors there are. There are hundreds of authors, 3 freaking pages of authors. Absolute five pages of authors. So all of these people, consensus science, believe that there are 2 neutron stars. And take a look at the data. Are you ready for it? That dot. Hello! Shut up, Al! Get in your hole! Well, yep, and that in fact is what we're looking at here. This little dot is what all of this nonsense is based on. Yep. Now, this is not nonsense. Aleph, have you heard of it? Yes, it's the first flying car that has FDA approval and approval by the air and space, whatever, you know, the aeronautics people. Just got approval. Take a look at this thing. It's made of a mesh, so air flows through it. It's basically a hovercraft, a giant drone, where the central console here spins around. You drive in the forward direction, but you fly in the backward direction. Isn't that weird? Yeah, this baby is now, look at this. They are taking pre-orders. You can get a general key pre-order for $150. A priority key for $1,500 for the flying car, which is estimated to be $299,999. But you don't have to drive anymore. You just fly directly to wherever you want to go. It has a 150-mile flying range, I believe, unless you get the hydrogen model. So this is all electric. No carbon footprint. Yeah, right. Imagine the carbon footprint of making this baby. And the batteries. But the flying car is coming. And no one is bumming, man. The future is here. Pre-order your flying car for just $150. You need the 300 grand to actually get it, and that's a boom to knowledge. Please share this video as we are shadow banned, and we need your help to grow. Become a Patreon. Support the work we do. Watch all of our productions commercial free. Just give us a thumbs up. It's free, and it helps with the algorithm. And share this video. We love you. Be safe, and that is a boom. Join us at the live stream at Magnetic Reversal News in just a moment.